Welcome, everybody, to the Lamont Tyson YouTube channel. I'm Lamont. That is,
Elle Diane.
you guys know I love that name because I'm very familiar with Elle and Diane. I've seen both of them within the last 24 hours. And we're here to talk about one of the worst dinosaur movies we've ever seen in our lives. I think we've seen dinosaur movies in Transformers cartoons that was better than this piece of crap right here. Elle Diane, tell them what we're talking about.
So we are talking about Jurassic Park Rebirth. So it's supposed to be, I think, the newest installment of another trilogy of movies. But
Yes.
we'll see.
Wow. And if you haven't seen it, let us give you a little bit of the action that went on in this movie.
We're here to collect what's left. Just the DNA samples. In and out.
Do we have to get a sample from an egg?
Look out!
Let's go.
In case you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a spoiler. However, let me say it like this. There's really nothing to spoil. If you watched all the trailers, you're damn near seen the whole movie. I'm just keeping it 100. Elle, how do you feel about it? Am I being too harsh? Am I telling the truth? If you've seen the trailers, you've seen most of the movie?
Pretty much. I think like the really good action sequences they did include in the trailer, which is never a good sign for a movie when you're seeing a lot of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please go to her TikTok. She knows what she's talking about. She actually has education in movies. So if you want to get the real, go to her TikTok. Link is in description. Let us break this thing down, Elle. Let me go ahead and pull up some of the filmography, who was in it, who wrote it. Let's go from the top. This was directed by Gareth Edwards, written by David Koop. And I want you guys to remember that name because we've got a lot to say about this script. Based on characters by Michael Crichton. We all know him from the first Jurassic Park, which I think is still everybody's favorite, the first one. We'll do a ranking at the end. Produced by Frank Marshall, Patrick Crowley, which I've been trying to beat his door down to give me some money to do one of my films. And it stars Scarlett Johansson, which me and Elle both love. We know her from the MCU and other good things. Mahershala Ali, two-time Oscar winner, fantastic actor. Yep. Jonathan Bailey, another fantastic actor. You guys might not be as familiar with him, but he does a good job. Rupert Friend, you might know him from a show that I love called Homeland. He was Peter Quinn in Homeland. He was recently on Broadway. He's a phenomenal actor. I did not like him in this movie, the way they wrote it for him. Now, he's a great actor, but the way they wrote it for him, I did not like it. And then if you go down the list, we get to cinematography is John Matheson, edited by Jabez Olsen, music by Alexandria. Well, I'm not even going to butcher that last name. Productions, Universal Studios. I was okay with the music.
Yeah.
And take a look at this, Elle. The budget was $180 million. That was the budget. And by Saturday, it's already made $300 million.
I mean, it makes sense. It's a holiday weekend and it's supposed to be family friendly. So that's a good draw. And I think we were hoping for another good Jurassic movie. So I think a lot of people were giving it the benefit of the doubt.
So tell the people about the atmosphere in your theater. Did you see a diverse group in terms of age range in your theater? What did your theater look like?
So you definitely had a mix of families and then people kind of on a date, younger families too. A few older people, so you can tell that they're fans of Jurassic Park. They had on like the t-shirts and stuff, like the old memorabilia, but definitely a lot of little kids. Like I was surprised at the age of some of it. I thought, you know, there weren't too many scary sequences with dinosaurs, but there's some screams from the children that were there. So they were a lot younger for sure.
There were a few jump scares by kids in my theater, and I had a pretty diverse group too, but it was more older people in there than it was younger people, believe it or not. In my theater, of course, I went like 2 o'clock, and Elle, you don't know, but my audience knows, my barometer for good movies is number one, can I stay asleep as a person who's over the age of 40? And these movies I usually go to them before 9 o'clock. So if I fall asleep during like a matinee, you know the movie is trash. Now, I will say this, audience, I did not fall asleep.
Nope.
I didn't fall asleep. but that still doesn't mean that this was a Titanic-sized blockbuster either. So we'll get into it. So here's the plot, Elle. For those of you that didn't know, I'll just skip on down to the parts that you really need to know. They're doing an engine use of a laboratory on the island of El Saint Hubre in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, people don't go looking for that island because it's not going to be there. It's going to be like Wakanda if you try to go fly there to see it. To create a transgenic mutated dinosaur. One of these creations, a deformed, six-limbed Tyrannosaurus dubbed Tyrannosaurus Rex, escapes containment and wreaks havoc, forcing the facility personnel to abandon the island. And in this film, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we start getting into trouble. The way they had to abandon that facility was some bull jive. 17 years later, in 2027, the Earth's climate is inhospitable to sustain the dinosaurs. They are forced to reside in an area around the equator which resembles the mosaic climate in which have been marked as a no zone. And that is all we're going to give you because we're about to spoil the rest of it. Lord Hammer, where do we begin with this breaking down this film? How about we do it like this? Give me your overall sense of what you liked in this movie. Uh-oh. Y'all, that's never good.
So I think what I liked, and I think that was done successfully, is just the introduction of different dinosaurs that you haven't really seen in other installments of this franchise. Mm-hmm. The action sequences, I think those were well done. Mm-hmm. But the movie struggles as far as dialogue. It kind of is hobbling along. It's not really carrying it. And the characters that they picked for this film are so much better than the roles they were acting. So that was disappointing. And I think it's like, that's just so distracting when you think about this movie as a whole. And especially also, I think what threw me off, the opening sequence, we're starting off with almost like an Alien versus Predator type sequence. And that I was like, where is this going? I hated it. And I like Alien versus Predator, to be clear. I like Alien by itself, Predator movies by themselves. And so I was just like, are we getting like a crossover? Like, what is this? So, and they made it look awfully like an alien. It was, I didn't like it.
That was one of the beginnings of the end of me thinking we're in deep trouble. I mean, we're in deep trouble for this movie with the way it opened. And we're going to go and pick apart some of the different scenes. And so I'm with you. I enjoyed some of the scenes with the dinosaurs, some of them. I enjoyed some of the music, the score that they played, along with specific scenes. That really made the scene more intense for me on some of the particular songs. They even had the classic Jurassic Park song, which everybody wanted to hear. And I was glad that they got that in there too. And then there was a couple of times when you knew one of the dinosaurs was going to get somebody, they played really, really creepy, trepidatious music. And I like that they sprinkled that in there. Okay. That's the end of the likes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, because after that, this plot unraveled like an earthquake in San Francisco, just falling all over the place. It was atrocious, and we will begin, Elle, with the very beginning. Okay, let me break this down for you, Elle. For the people that are listening and you're not watching, I'm showing a picture of the laboratory that they were showing in the very beginning back in the day. This is supposed to be some top secret lab. It's worth at least $1 billion. They're in here doing experiments on dinosaurs, trying to mutate and splice their genes. And it's top secret. It's got the highest level security. One buffoon is eating a Snickers bar, drops the paper wrapper, and that causes the complete chaos that ruins what the hell? Lord Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's the opening for product placement, which I was like, okay, so this is they tried to do it subtly, but I was just like, why? Like, Snickers is supposed to make you perform better, not worse. So
right. Snickers, ladies and gentlemen, when you eat a Snickers, you turn from Aretha Franklin into who you are. Because you've entered the craving. You've sufficed the craving that you have inside that's turning you to something else.
Exactly.
They let a Snickers bar get up in some kind of air duct, and the Snickers bar trash is what caused the whole facility to go crazy. And you had this mutated. We'll get to the T-Rex in a minute because I got jokes for that T-Rex too. But I mean, God, boy.
Which is ridiculous if you think about it. How do you spend billions? Because I don't even think it'd be a billion. It's billions of dollars on a facility like this. We're gene splicing these dinosaurs to make them more like entertaining for the general public. It's supposed to bring back all of this money in return. And it's the whole operation's unraveled by food, which makes no sense.
Not just the food, Elle. It was unraveled by the wrapper, the paper on the food.
Which is crazy.
Lord, y'all could have done better.
High voltage fences, all of the security in the world, but did not take out a Snickers.
Look at these people. The suits these people wearing cost more than most security at somebody's house. I mean, you probably got to go through 3 doors of airtight venting before you can get out of this facility. And you mean to tell me a Snickers bar shut down your look? If that was product placement, Elle, I don't want a Snickers bar. Okay, I don't want a Snickers bar to come ruin my damn house and to catch on fire and dinosaurs get loose. I don't want none of that. None of that. Okay, so that was the beginning of us thinking, man, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. So how did you like the part where you had the brontosaurus or whatever it was that got loose in New York, and people just going right by the thing as if nothing's happening?
I think it just shows you like the dinosaurs had become so commonplace. So like after, because this leaves us after like World Dominion, right? So dinosaurs are like everywhere. They're living in climates. And I remember watching that movie, like dinosaurs wouldn't be living in the snow. This doesn't even make sense. Like they didn't have snow during their eras. So why would they be like in the Sierra Nevada in the snow? But whatever. So we're at a place where people are like, they like them, or maybe they're sick of them now. It had graffiti on it. So it's like the very nod to New York, I guess, that they graffiti everything from a train station to a dinosaur. So I noticed that, but then it was just like, there was no sympathy from the guy who's driving ScarJo. He's just like, yeah, you know, I feel bad for it, but like, get out of the way, you're causing traffic. And it's like, it's dying in New York. So I think, honestly, it kind of tells me how like novelty, like how quickly the novelty of dinosaurs would wear off if we do keep going down this path, because they're already working on the woolly mammoth and trying to bring that back. So I feel like humans will like it for a while. People will pay money to come and see them, but it's like, especially if they're roaming around, then there's no more draw to go to one place to see them. They're just everywhere, and you are going to be inconvenienced by them.
So first of all, let me shout out Rashonda, JT, and the big homie Just My Opinion Reviews. Elle, you need to get to know Just My Opinion Reviews. He has a fantastic review channel. Comes from the heart, comes for us. He's the one that when I started considering doing reviews for movie and TV, he's the one I found him and a young lady named Sharonda Pay Her Weight. And if you ever want good reviews that are entertaining and probably close to the way you have relegated subject in a movie, that's your guy. Definitely. Okay. So check out Just My Opinion Reviews. Elle, so let me say it like this, Elle. Right now, if you was to see an elephant walking down your street, would you not go on the front porch and just look in awe for a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's novel because there's not really, minus zoos, you wouldn't just see an elephant roaming around in Denver.
Well, that's how I kind of feel about dinosaurs. Like, I don't care how long they've been roaming around. You're still going to kind of be in awe of them a little bit. Just a little bit. I get what you're saying about how the writer wanted you to know that people had become desensitized. I get that. But I do think that someone in that area would have been in awe of the dinosaur. That's all I'm saying. I would have written like
that you haven't seen maybe, but like if you're constantly seeing dinosaurs, and again, like this is after World Dominion where they're literally just everywhere in the world. So they weren't like one spot anymore. Right. I don't think you'd care. I think it would be like, and then people are getting killed by them, not for nothing. So that's true. Some people, they're like they can go extinct, and that's the energy we get from the family that's introduced to this film for reasons unknown.
Well said. So I was looking to fight her on something, and now she's pulled me over to her dark side on that one. Well said. I agree. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. So we'll say that the writers hit that one for sure. Did a good job on that one. Now let's go ahead and get to this little trinity that was being made, because we're not trying to solve erectile dysfunction in this movie. We're trying to solve congestive heart failure. Exactly. And we always going to have the twirling evil mustache man who's a capitalist, doesn't have any ethics, doesn't have any morals. It's just straight American style MAGA capitalism. And it is this guy who I already told you I loved him in Homeland when he played Peter Quinn. And he's done teamed up with the Doctor, who is more of, I guess they was trying to give him the Jeff Goldblum essence, because he's kind of saved the earth. We should give this resource to everybody. It shouldn't be to the highest bidder. And then we get into old grizzled veteran Scarlett Johansson, who has some type of military background. They come together to make this trinity, make this deal. And the Doctor, he was a little weird. You know, he had to go sit down and eat some breath mints before he made a decision. I'm not lying. Yeah. I would have preferred him to have a Tic Tac instead of an Altoid. But Elle, talk to me about that scene when they came together. The Doctor went over there, and all Scarlett Johansson had to do was let him get his breath fresh, bat her eye, and he was ready to go.
That, to me, that sequence is weird too. So, okay, basically he's going to be out of a job because, you know, again, people don't really care about dinosaurs the same way. His research isn't going to be relevant. So he is now in a place where he is looking to, I guess, what is his next gig going to be? So Scarlett Johansson, who also wasn't even convinced to do this initially. So it's like she changes her mind, like almost like lightning quick to like hop on board. But really, we find out later it's like the money. She's like, you know, have you ever seen a dinosaur in real life, like in their natural habitat? And he's like, let me think about it, and starts popping Altoids. And then after a weird amount of crunching and staring, she's like, so are we going? And he's, you know, he's on board. It's just, it's very like that was the first like set of dialogue that I was just like, I hope there's no more of this. Like this weird, like we're trying to go for tension, but then break it with humor, but it wasn't successful on either end. Like his loud crunching wasn't funny to me. And then I don't know. It was, I'm just disappointed because Scarlett Johansson's a better actress than this. Like I just don't know why they did this to her, but you know, money.
Well, look, at the end of the day, all these people I named are way better than this script presented itself. So I'm assuming they must gave them like $15 million a piece to take these roles on, because when you think of someone who's won an Oscar twice, like Mahershala Ali, normally they're not taking roles like this. No. I mean, unless they make you a deal so good that you just can't say no. I mean, but when you're an Oscar like Mahershala Ali, every deal you get is going to be good. Like they're paying for your airfare. You're getting to stay wherever you want to stay. You're getting to probably have say so in the script, which I hope he didn't. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know, but I agree with you. That scene was nuts. It was really, really nuts because they, like I said, they wanted it to be drama filled. Mm-hmm. They wanted to be high tension, and then they tried to stick the landing with a laugh on him crunching a breath mint and Scarlett Johansson saying, okay, I'm in. Dude turned off his morals just like that to say I'm going. Just like that. It's
funny because it's like she didn't offer him money. It was like you just get to go for the vibes and seeing a dinosaur in real life. Like never mind, you're going to be unemployed and you don't have a job soon, but you get to see some dinosaurs in their natural habitat. Isn't that great? And he was ready to go.
He was really down just to go to feel the dinosaurs. Just go feel them. And you know what? Maybe the writers wanted us to feel like, look, this man is so desperate. He's so beat down. He's just so damn downtrodden that before his career is over, this could be the great crescendo for him just to go see these animals.
Yeah.
Maybe like that's what they want. Mm-hmm. Exactly. See, writers, y'all might should have called us up. Because we interpreted this for y'all to make it sound better than what it really was.
Yeah.
Lord. So now we get on. We're skipping through a couple of scenes to kind of give y'all the depth of what the movie was about. Yes, ma'am. Hi. Hi. Okay. Bye. Go to bed. We're getting through the scenes, and the next scene we get Scarlett Johansson meeting up with one of her old co-workers in Mahershala Ali, ladies and gentlemen. And so they're discussing this big deal they need to do, how it's going to happen. And then they fleeced old boy. Or at least they want us to think they fleeced old boy.
Oh, it wasn't even done subtly.
Yours,
why this movie is so frustrating, because like another golden opportunity for both of them to exercise their acting chops for the audience. And we watch them almost wink and nudge as they're like getting more money out of him. It was bad. I don't know. Sorry, guys. That's all I can say. It's just
no. You're bad. Good. You're good. JT, I agree with you. Because throughout this movie, they did try to play up somewhat of a subtle romance, a little flirt from the doctor with her. It didn't land the way I think it should. I think they could have done it a little better, but we'll get there in a minute. I agree with you. I didn't like that part because Homeboy just gave it up too quick. He knew he got fleeced. Mm-hmm. And he just kind of felt like, oh, well, I got to do this. If you got that much money to give up and they try to fleece you, you could just walk. That wasn't even hard. Like, he could have just walked. They didn't even challenge us on that one at all. Mm-hmm. Like, they just made it seem like he's a desperate rich man. You know, how many desperate rich men do you know? I don't know none that's that desperate. Not that desperate.
Find someone else.
Exactly. He would have went on to another one. But now we're on the boat. And this is where it got really cringe. And I love them both. You probably already know what I'm about to talk about. I love Scarlett Johansson and I love Mahershala Ali. So let me put one of these folks on the screen. I think I'll go with Mahershala this time.
Okay.
So they're on the boat. They just kind of kicking it about, their past since they haven't seen each other. He's divorced because they lost a son. She's not with her, whoever, because that person is dead. That dialogue didn't really land on me. And you're talking about two of probably the 100 best actors in Hollywood right now, not all time, but like right now. That was so flat. Talk to me about I don't know what happened with that. And then they dropped that big plot point, and they did pay it off a little bit with Mahershala Ali, but they really didn't pay off Scarlett's story at all. What did you think about the dropping of that conversation?
I think it was to try to give both of their characters like more depth, and so they wouldn't be just like these shallow, money-hungry part-time mercenaries. I don't know exactly, because we hint at her being a mercenary, but which she doesn't really deny. So it's like I feel like they're both retired from this life of paid crime, if you will, and they're like, we're not super great people. We've done these terrible things in our past, and this isn't a redemption mission though, because she's like, yeah, I'm here for the money. He's there for the money. Like, we just watched that scene where they get the guy for more money. So it's like, it's not like we're reformed and we're like doing this like noble charitable mission. It was like, it's weird that we even went into this backstory of like, him being separated and divorced and how hard that is. And then her not going to her mom's funeral. Like, it was just like, and he's like, yeah, that's like the worst thing I've ever heard. I'm pretty sure both of you guys have killed people for money. So I don't know if that's like the worst thing you've ever heard or seen, but okay. Like, it was just a weird attempt to give them character and to give them like a backstory and to try to round out these characters when they weren't done this in so many ways. And they chose this weird conversation on a boat, like these old friends who like haven't seen each other in a while, and like, he's just drinking and gambling and hanging out. And it's like, she's like, riding around New York. I don't know. It's like, who are these people supposed to be to us? Like, why should they care about either of you? Besides the fact that you're famous and really.
She raw with it, ladies and gentlemen. When we meet them, that's exactly what they're doing. He's up there, they're drinking and they're gambling. They won't play in spades. I know that. And it's like, It's like, bro, I need the money. She need the money. I feel like if they wanted us to be invested in the characters in a better way, why not have given us a flashback of them in some kind of chaotic situation where they was able to help each other get out of whatever situation that their backstories could have told by visually seeing it, instead of having this sad conversation. And like I said, they didn't really pay it off with her, but with him, you kind of noticed that he had a little soft spot for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll kind of get into that a little bit, but that still didn't feel, his soft spot that he showed for kids didn't live up to what that conversation was with him and Scarlett Johansson, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like it could have been a little bit more weightier. And so now we're to the point where they've got their team. And that was another thing to where I knew this movie was not going to be satisfying, because you're talking about, it's like 6, 7, maybe at best 7 Negroes going to get on this ship to go and get the 3 parts they need to cure congestive heart failure. They need 3 blood samples from something in the ocean, something that fly, and something else, right? They need that.
A land mammal. Mm-hmm.
And instead of having like a foot soldier team, I mean, like, you need to go in there like 20 Negroes deep. They going in there with like 6 people.
And no weapons.
Nothing.
They had the one guy who also I feel like the way he died didn't even really make sense, because all of these people, like I said, I feel like they're mercenaries or have some type of, black ops training from their respective countries. So the first one they're going after is a mosasaur.
Yeah.
And mosasaurus, I'm probably not saying that right. And it's the water one. And it's like, he's like, oh, we've got this neurotoxin. Like, it doesn't specify, like, does it kill it? Does it paralyze it? Like, you don't even, like, he doesn't explain. And then there are no guns on the boat. There is something that shoots darts, the little darts, to collect the samples, and that is all they have, and this neurotoxin. And it's like, so we don't have a gun. Like, you didn't want, like, no one wanted to bring a 50 cal, nothing. We're just, not even a handgun. We're just here with darts and neurotoxin.
These are people that or at least the story is intimating to us that they've killed people in the past.
Yeah.
You know that. And you think that those kind of people is going to get on a boat with objects that are bigger than elephants and not have no weapons? Come on, man. Y'all got to do better than that for us. Like, the boat didn't
made. It was like, what are we talking about right now?
Elle, the boat didn't even have a damn harpoon gun. It had nothing. It had nothing.
No little turret set up to, like,
and you know the one guy that was supposed to be in the alpha male, that white dude that I'm calling him MAGA male, because good and damn well MAGA male would not have got on that boat without a damn near army of guns. He would have brought a treasure chest of guns. Okay. And he didn't have no gun either. Okay. And I'm already thinking to myself, ladies and gentlemen, there's no way this movie's going to be good, because we don't have enough people for the dinosaurs to eat. Like, there's not enough Negroes, foot soldiers, for them to eat. We don't have weapons, which would made it much more easier for them to get eaten. And we literally going out here to hunt things that are bigger than elephants with just a dart gun that's going to subtract blood, and then it pops into the air and it floats down with the damn balloon. That's what we're doing. That's how we're protecting ourselves out here on these streets. Okay, so the team is together and we're chasing the dinosaur, and then the plot gets worse, because Elle, I would say we about 45 minutes into the movie, they drop these people into the movie. Lord have mercy. Yeah. You get the floor first on this one. What we're doing here with this family? There was no need to drop this family in here one bit. Now, mind you, I do like the Lincoln lawyer guy, but still, you didn't serve a good role in this purpose.
So this family, they're taking some type of transatlantic voyage in that tiny sailboat, which doesn't even seem logical. It's supposed to be the last hurrah before the daughter goes to NYU. She makes a weird joke, like, I'm not going to some foreign country. I'm just going to NYU. And she brings her boyfriend along, who's just from the time he's introduced to the audience, he's just not a good guy. And he's not someone you're really cheering for. It's kind of like, why are you there? And also her little sister's there, which I don't know how old she is because the movie never really specifies, but she seems like she's almost too young to be on this voyage with her dad and sister. But here she is. So it's Isabella. I can't remember the sister's name. I can't remember, but they said the little girl's name so many times. So I feel like I just remember her name. So you see them, they're on this little sailboat. Everything seems to be going okay. It's the son's turn. Well, not the son, but like the boyfriend's turn to take over steering the ship so the dad can sleep. And he's just like, I'm so tired. Apparently it's 6 p.m. and he hasn't gotten any sleep really. And so she's like, the daughter's like, the oldest daughter's like, I'll just take his turn. And the dad's like, no, like, I've got it. Just basically, like, why did you bring this irresponsible man if he's not going to help? And she's like, no, dad, he's like a good guy. So that's setting up like his redemption arc for us. Because not too long after, they start to notice some Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus? I don't know.
Yeah, Spinosaurus spine sticking up out of the water.
Out of the water. And they don't seem alarmed. And now they're circling the boat. And then the next thing you know, they're getting hit by the mosasaur. So it was just like, okay, cool. This is escalating rather quickly. And it doesn't explain why it's going after the boat. Like, we get a little bit of an explanation from the doctor who like knows the behavior of these animals. It's like, maybe it thinks it's a predator and it's being territorial. But it's like, the boat is so much smaller compared to this thing. Like, why would... that's fine. But yeah, so it flips the boat. The family's now in the water, and that's the picture you're currently seeing. And the fact that they even survived, because I feel like why wouldn't have just crushed the boat?
Thank you. Elle, there is no way in hell if that thing thought that was a predator, that boat would be in pieces like ash to somebody who just got finished burning wood. That boat would be destroyed, and they would have been destroyed. There was a time when the little sorry boyfriend should have been eaten. He should have had his ass eaten out there. Number one, if I'm the daddy and I realized that this is what my daughter decided to bring home, I would have helped the dinosaur eat his ass. I would have done something under that water, yanked him and threw him, and I would be like, baby, I don't know what happened to him. Because this dude was a pure a-hole. He didn't know how to do nothing. He was a weed head, and I'm not knocking nobody that smoked. But if you're gonna smoke, be responsible with other things in your life. He didn't know how to steer the boat, didn't want to steer the boat.
No.
And when he got locked in there when the boat flipped over, I really thought that was going to be it for him. I did.
Me too. And that to me, I think would have been better. Nice. Like,
yeah, that would have been better.
But I understand why they were like, no, we need him to stick around. So,
they tried to make him the comic relief, and maybe for white people, his jokes were sticking. Maybe.
Well, I think he was supposed to be Hispanic, so some of it was. I think there were like a few Spanish language jokes in there, like because it was
maybe it stuck for them, maybe, but for everybody else and the people sitting around me, nobody was laughing at any of his jokes. All the laughter we heard was coming from the old white people in my theater. So I'm speaking from my theater. Nobody was laughing.
I had more Hispanic people in it, so I think they could appreciate it.
Okay.
Shtick.
That's why we say it's subjective.
Sure.
But a lot of people subject themselves to our viewpoints on movies, ladies and gentlemen. I just hate to break
exactly.
Yeah. So let me get on with it. So they crash. Now they got a homing beacon going on. They SOS. We need help. And our good friends right here on the boat. It was a minor fight to go get them. Which that scene contrived to me. I'm sorry, y'all, if I'm nitpicking. I'm sorry. But the little argument of whether we should go get them or not, and they 3 miles away from the destination of trying to get this blood sample. And Mahershala Ali is like, nah, we going to get him. And I guess that was them trying to build him up as more of a protagonist, so to speak. Elle, it didn't land for me, man. I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying.
What made no sense was the whole, like, okay, we're tracking this dinosaur with this beacon, right? And they're saying, oh, we're like 3 miles away from it. But the same dinosaur that they're tracking with the beacon just attacked this family on a boat. So it would be back where the family is off course, because he's like, oh, it's 24 miles out of our way. So that means you're not 3 miles away from it. It's 24 miles behind you. So you need to turn around anyway.
Did you see how they tried to clean that up? They tried to make it seem like it was 2 beacons. Did you see that? They tried to clean it up with that. So apparently,
but they were right next to each other.
Yes.
And one just attacked the family on the boat.
Yes.
And then it was like, okay, so either way, if you're tracking one or another, there's all around in the water, but they made it seem like there was just one that was out there, and that was the one they needed to go get.
And then all of a sudden, there's 2 beacons.
Yeah.
Like, it was 1 beacon at first. Then all of a sudden, when they got the family on the boat, now we got 2 beacons colliding. And that's when we hear, oh, well, the Mesosaurus has these symbiotic creatures that follow around with him and help him hunt all of a sudden. And it's like, here we go again, where if that animal wanted to destroy the boat, he could have tore that boat in half. Look at the size of that thing. He could have tore that boat in half. And they had an action sequence up here. And I'm not going to lie, I did like the action sequence up here where Scarlett Johansson was trying to shoot him and she fell off the boat and her neck was hanging and the thing tried to bite her. It missed. And this is the same sequence where MAGA Man was killed, which I knew he was going to die quick. I knew it.
I didn't think he'd be that quick, though. The way he died,
his nipples were sticking through his tight ass shirt too hard. I knew he was done early. I knew it. I knew they were going to let MAGA Male stick around. So he gets eaten in the sequence. Scarlo is able to somehow or another get back up there, and they're flirting when he's wrapping his arms. The doctor's wrapping his arms around her, clipping her back to the thing and getting her the other little spear to shoot, and he's cresting her and all that, and she gets it done. Okay, so we got 1 vial of blood, right? But now we're in a high-speed chase trying to get to land, which made no sense to me.
No.
What didn't make sense to me was you're saying that this thing can't go in shallow water, which I agree with that. But the other one's got legs, okay?
Yeah, they're amphibious.
Yeah. And you're going like 70 knots trying to hit the land when everybody's jumping out the boat. And Elle, tell me why nobody got eaten.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And also that they all arrived to the beach relatively at the same time. Like, we have the dad who hurt his boat on the ankle, as someone said in the comments. Like, he's already has like a gimpy leg, but like, apparently just a super strong swimmer. And then the daughter, she was like, she felt flipped out of the boat earlier, and like the money hungry guy who's like sponsoring this trip but also really needs these samples, he like didn't save her when she was falling out of the boat, so she's out. The boyfriend, who this is his moment to redeem himself from being like, you know, just a waste of space earlier, hops out after her. The dad is like, tells the little girl, who I'm just like, they put a life jacket on her. He had one, and I think she had one, but the other she didn't. He just had like a life preserver thing that they were holding on to, like Baywatch style. Hey, we're about to crash into this island. Quickly, put this life vest on. We're gonna hop out of the boat. Like, why would you ever tell your daughter, like, let's just hop out? Let's just get out because the boat's about to crash. And it made it seem like it was gonna crash and explode into like, I don't know, a fireball. So you have all these people bailing except Mahershala Ali's character and then another French-speaking character on the boat who was like in the bowels of the boat. And you're just like, okay, so if anyone should have died in that sequence, it would have been him. But he survived once again. And then the lady who was at the crow's nest at the very top of the boat, she doesn't fall out either when this boat crashes. But but then everyone else bailed and swam to shore. And there was no dinosaurs in the water. Like the little amphibious guys didn't get anyone. It was just, okay.
Yeah. And I'm just going to pile on what she said. So number one, I don't know where the hell Mahershala Ali got his beret from, but that bitch didn't move none the whole movie. He was in that boat going 70 knots, and the thing smacked in the rock, and that hat never moved, ladies and gentlemen. There was another time he got chased by a Tyrannosaurus Rex and was in the water swimming. That hat never moved, ladies. I need one of them, okay? Them things might can be bulletproof because that shit never moved. That's one problem. All right. She's absolutely right about the black dude, the black French dude who was down there when the boat caught on fire, when it stopped. He survived. Like I would have rather him die there than the way he did die, if I'm gonna keep it real with you. But I'll get back to that in a minute. I think that we have to be happy that we're living in a day where now the black people don't die first. I think we gotta accept that they didn't kill him first, so we making a little bit of progress, all right? But that whole scene was like, come on, man. The things was just in the water behind you, at least the ones that are amphibious. Mm-hmm. Somebody else should have got to eat up Xavier because his jokes was terrible. Eat his ass up. And make it a good eating his ass up. Make it where you eat a toe first, then you come eat an arm right in front of the daughter's face and have the dad in the background laughing or something like that. That would have been funny.
Made it. She would have.
Yeah, that would have been funny. But even in that same scene we're talking about, he did lose the lady that was up in the cat eye thing. He lost her because she was trying to drag the equipment to the shore. And you mean to tell me the whole time that this whole crew of people is dragging equipment to the shore, the dinosaur that was over there sleeping was asleep the whole time and didn't decide to wake up until they got on shore? After all that commotion?
I know.
Come on now.
And and what's crazy, it's one of the same amphibious ones that snuck up behind her and bit her and like ate her. And then everyone else is still there and was just like, oh, I guess I'm full, and just left. I don't think the dinosaur attacks were strange because it's like, I don't know if she would be enough to fill up one of those dinosaurs, but maybe. I don't know.
Hey, look, it's been about 15 years since they've had human sustenance. And I mean, them dinosaurs were chasing them like they was chicken nuggets. Okay, so maybe they was just.
So where was the rest of them? Like you ate one.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't the other ones come out of the water to eat the rest of them?
That's all I'm saying. Like that was a horrible plot hole, ladies and gentlemen. That was a horrible plot hole. And so now we've got the militia separated from the family. Mm-hmm. Of which the family should not have been in this movie in the first place. They could have replaced that family with another boat of foot soldiers trying to help with this
would have made plan. More sense. Especially if you have money to just double and triple a mission and like everyone's upping the price and you're just like, whatever, yeah, like I just have more money to spend. Why wouldn't you bring more people and weaponry? Like, exactly. I don't know, have like a better boat, a bigger one. Something that you could put like your own like ATVs or something on it. Because what are we just gonna trek through this island, which they do, and make great time? So
let's keep this thing 100. Not only did the family know that there was chances of dinosaur fish creatures being in the ocean, but they did too. So having said that, why the hell is you riding a boat there anyway? Especially the militia team. You could have flown a helicopter there. Why are you on a boat when you know that you got these creatures in the ocean? It makes no sense for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, it should have been like we have a military helicopter drop off on the beach, come back and get us or whatever. I don't know. But because we had to pick up Mahershala and he was gambling on an island. So that's why we need a boat. And it was his boat.
I get all that. I get it. But a man like that, you got to be connected to somebody. Scarlett Johansson was connected to somebody with a helicopter. She could have picked up her boy Mahershala, called in the helicopter, and boom. We avoid all that. But anyway, so folks, we're on this island. Let me get back to it. We're on the island. The family is split up. The militia is split up. And so the family is trying to find wherever this cabin or wherever this holdout is. Village, yeah. So there are pipes leading to the village, and so they're on their own little adventure, and they're trying to get there, and they do have some twists and turns, but then enters marketing piece, the most important marketing piece they're going to try to sell for this thing. Enter in Baby Yoda, ladies and gentlemen, Dolores, who serves no damn purpose in this story other than maybe she's the reason we're going to get a sequel. Elle, talk to me about Dolores, the diabetic dinosaur.
Oh my gosh. Dolores loves Twizzlers. That's what that little girl was hoarding the whole time on the boat and like doesn't want to share with anybody, especially her sister's boyfriend. So apparently Dolores also likes Twizzlers or whatever licorice candy that she's eating. Because I don't think Twizzlers paid for this product placement. So she's just eating an off-brand version of Twizzlers. So she's feeding this to this little dinosaur. And she hates dinosaurs, by the way. Like she doesn't like them. She's scared of them. But here comes a cutesy-ish one along, and she's like, "Oh, you, but yay, I guess. Like this can be my pet now." And she wants to keep it, so and it like cuddles up next to them while they're sleeping. One of the nights that they're out there, and I thought, okay, like maybe if Dolores was a little bit bigger, like I don't know, like Blue was, because Blue was a raptor that Chris Pratt's character was able to train. Owen, I think is what his name is in that movie. Like that kind of makes sense, having something like that hanging around you on this island. But Dolores is like a dino tic tac running around. Like she's gonna get eaten so quickly. I don't understand why she came along, but I guess it's to help this little girl get over her fear of dinosaurs and like them more.
That was a thinly veiled version of helping this girl get over her dinosaur. I really think that was product placement because they're going to try to sell Dolores toys. And I also think that Dolores is going to be the reason that they do a sequel, because at the end of the movie, we'll talk about her going back to a place where technically her ass can't survive. Think about it. The way they
to be fair, like I don't know if they're like, I think they're from like Florida or something, because like wherever he started, it wasn't that far from where they're just making history too. So I think she might be fine. But also, does she get bigger? Because I kept like when I saw her, I was like, I think this is a baby. Where's its mom? Like,
and you know what? There was a scene when we saw the traditional T-Rex where they showed something that looked like it was her mother, and I'm thinking to myself, "Uh-oh, this is about to be it. They about to break up this little unit," but it wasn't the mom, so I don't know. But anyway, there you have it. The diabetic dinosaur survived and is going back to the mainland, and I'm sure she's going to be the sequel. They done nothing with that character, nothing. Like they could have took Dolores and made her be a distraction to get them away from the T-Rex. Nope. They could have had Dolores.
Ran. She saved herself when
Dolores
she landed where the T-Rex was sleeping, and she could smell like the thing that had died. It's one of those little dinosaurs with the little horn on its head that the T-Rex had killed. She smelled that and was out. Like licorice didn't matter. She was gone. Dolores left her red high and dry. Dolores left Bella. Bella was on her.
Dolores like, fuck this. I know what this smell is. I ain't hanging around for none of it. Dolores was out. Okay. And like I thought that was gonna pay it. Like they could have had Dolores. You remember at the very end when they was trapped and they needed somebody to get out there and push the button to let them out the gate. I was thinking to myself, here we go. Dolores is about to be a hero because can't nobody fit through this gate. And instead of having it be Dolores, they had the daughter, the smallest daughter, get through the thing, which is okay. But I would have loved for them to have paid off Dolores somehow, some way. Now
she wasn't. I mean, Dolores is little. She can barely she fits in a backpack. So I don't think she's really meant to do much.
Well, I mean, but look, that technically something that's that small would fit the role of being able to get through a gate and jump up there and push the thing. You know, I mean, like hell, Baby Groot was small, but he was fierce. You know, Baby Yoda was small, he was fierce. You can do something with these little kids. But anyway, they didn't do none of that. And we'll get on to, so they've got a valve. Now they get on to the mutated brontosauruses. And Elle, you know what they try to do with this scene? This was like one of the most iconic scenes from the original Jurassic Park. And they wanted so bad to recreate that. They was trying, and it wasn't landing the way it did the first time. And I didn't like how the doctor was literally having an orgasm to go touch the thing on the leg, talking about, oh my God, I'm going to distract it. And bruh, you didn't need to distract them.
No.
These two things was trying to have sex.
That's what was strongly implied. So I kind of felt like, are we going to see dinosaurs mating in this movie?
Yeah. Well, that's what they was doing. They was rubbing tails and taking the tails and rubbing each other underneath the necks and shit. And they was rubbing noses.
I know.
And you talking about you got to distract them. And then he literally goes over there, Elle, and is rubbing the leg where they trying to have sex.
That's so
Scarlett Johansson shoots him in the neck. Nothing. He should have been crushed. He should have been.
But they're so big that I feel like for them it probably would have been like a fly landing on it. It didn't even notice, and it had birds, a bunch of birds on its back. Like it was, it was not feeling a little dark.
Let me ask you this:
safest extraction that they had from any of these creatures they were hunting, by the way.
Yeah, and in the story they gave you dialogue basically saying that they're herbivores, so they're not trying to eat meat or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But I still felt like they should have filled the stick because look, me and you, we're much bigger than mosquitoes. And at the very least, when the mosquitoes jump on us, boy, damn it, we feel it. Maybe it don't hurt, but it's a nuisance. It's a nuisance. It makes you look down at your arm, okay? These guys ain't
moved a little. Like it shook a little. Okay.
Yeah, well, plus they was trying to mate. So I'm sure if they weren't thinking about none of that anyway. And I'm thinking to myself, y'all so busy trying to come up with a cure for congestive heart failure. Maybe you get whatever blood they got and you make some more little blue pills for the men that's got ED. How you feel about that, Elle? We get some erectile dysfunction fixes from the brontosaurus that's mating.
You can just off-label usage. That's what you'll just do with the cure for the heart failure. Just like kind of like Ozempic, it's for diabetics, but weight loss. So it's like it extends your heart life and
exactly. And so
better in bed.
Right. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So we've got 2 valves now, ladies and gentlemen. We're down to we only got to get one more valve, and
just like you said, every single time they like parachute super close to them within, like it's like the whole thing. It's like attached to a parachute, and with the wind blowing, they could go anywhere. But on a boat, perfect catch. On land, Mahershala backs up a little bit, hands out, perfect catch. So it's not even. It's very simple so far, not crazy.
Oh, they forgot to tell y'all. There's like this beacon inside the parachute, and it can transfix on homeboy's little briefcase. So that's why it always kept coming to people. Now I'm making this shit up, y'all. I'm a script writer. Hey, that's not real. I'm trying to help y'all out here. I'm just making this stuff up.
Okay. All right. I was going for it, so that actually would have made sense. That little GPS to go with it would have
okay. Warner Brothers, whoever wrote this, next time y'all need some writers, come get me and Elle Diane. We can hook you up. Okay, we can hook you up.
Yeah, like show you where there's some plot holes.
Hook you up, right? And so now they got one more to get, and this time they got to get it from the egg, from the flying pterodactyls that are the size of, he said, F-14 fighter jets. All right.
Yeah,
and
all of us, which was weird.
Yeah. And so they swing down from the hillside, they duck up in there into the nest, and I'm thinking to myself, why are y'all taking your sweet time in this nest? Like, instead of staying in the nest, can't you just grab an egg and go, or don't do no talking, just go ahead and suck the stuff out of it and get out of there?
See, so he sets it up that he has to take his time because he doesn't want to break the embryonic sac that the little baby bird is in, I guess. So that's why he's going slow. But then they also allude that this is some type of lost temple because behind them you see these carvings, like almost like an Aztec Inca type situation. But again, never fleshed out. It's like, what is this? Because the guy who described where the bird's nest was originally, he's like, oh yeah, I think it's just like, the size of a bus or something man-made is almost what he made it seem like. That was there, but then it's like you realize it's actually like some ancient temple that the birds are now living in. And there's stairs, which they could have probably taken, but they didn't.
Exactly. See,
He
you beat me to the
down
punch.
lift instead.
Yes. You mean to tell me that Mahershala Ali and the bad guy found the stairs, but y'all couldn't find the stairs and run down there?
Well, he found it because of that weird little frog thing that like jumped out at him, and he was like, why he was trying to chase after the frog? Like, what do you wanted to grab it? Like, what was he gonna do with it? Then he sees, oh, there's stairs there. And at any point, he could have said, hey guys, actually stop rappelling down. There's stairs. Let's just take stairs to this bird's nest. But you know, you don't get the dramatic tension if we're taking stairs. And the guy was like, oh yeah, I like rock climb at my gym. And it's just supposed to be another moment where Scarlett Jo is better at athletic things than this professor. So she's like, okay, cute. Like, I'll see you down there. So.
And that was more character building of those two and their dynamics, because even though this script was not that great, and you always want to take people's characters on a journey, by the end of the movie, Scarlett Johansson's character went from I need this money to let's give it to mankind for the greater good of mankind. Probably due to the influence of this doctor who she's ready to go have sex with that by the end of the movie. You know, because they've been building up for it the whole time. So we have to assume the only reason, because the doctor even said to Scarlett, I'll let you make the decision. And instead of taking the briefcase and trying to make money, we'll give it to mankind for the greater good of humanity. We won't make no money off of it. So, you know,
I guess. I don't know.
I was like, I'm done with this movie.
Money. She seemed like she's kind of broke, so I just feel like I don't know if the love of this out of work professor is enough for me to just be like, okay, like yeah. You know?
Remind me if me and Elle was in a movie and I'm dead broke, she's not choosing love over the money.
No, what's love got to do with it?
Right.
Love can't pay bills. So Scarlett Jo's broke. She's gonna remain broke in this movie.
Lord. So, ladies and gentlemen, they did get the stuff out of the egg. And as she said, it parachuted down right into Mahershala Ali's Jerry Rice wide receiver hands. He caught it easily after he scampered down the stairs. And he lost another one of his crew members. We finally lost a French black dude. He got eaten by the pterodactyl. And I was really...
I don't understand why. Like, okay, they're carnivores, so I do understand that they eat meat. And it's chasing it up this mountain or whatever to like go get him. It eats him. So I feel like that's his death kind of made sense because he, you know, was like, pull me back up, which... To me, that didn't even seem like a smart plan. Like you're rappelling down and people have to hand pull you back up to get back to the top. But it's like, okay, like instead of just continuing to go down, I think that's what typically happens when you're rappelling down a cliff. You don't necessarily go back up. And he had also been hammering and making all this noise. And I'm like, it's a bird and you're by its nest.
Thank you.
So I don't know why you would be making that much noise. But okay, trying to pull him back up and he dies that way. But then there's still two other people there for you to eat, and the bird's just like, oh, I'm full. Like once again, I guess watching their calories. Like it's like I'm done eating, you know, the food in front of me. I'm gonna just fly away now. And it had the like rope and all of the things stuck inside of it, and it just magically didn't anymore because first it was stuck on it like a fishing line type of thing, and then it just magically didn't have any of that. So I don't know. That was also kind of annoying.
The bird swallowed the rope, Elle. The bird swallowed the rope, and the black man, that bird probably had never tasted black meat before. So he was like, oh, this shit was good right here. I'm not chasing those other people. I want this black dude. And he couldn't get him because he went down the stairs. Okay. Chocolate tastes a lot better in hot air than white chocolate does. So the bird guy tasted that and said, you know what? I'm not going back for nothing else. I want this guy. And he couldn't get him. And they're off into the races. Now they got all the valves they need. Needless to say, we skipped over during the movie, the villain, the billionaire capitalist, wind up getting a gun, didn't tell nobody about it. Okay.
Well, random. I don't know where that crashed helicopter, because to me it was like a nod to World Dominion when the Bryce Howard's character gets stuck in the tree in that little parachute thing. But I guess this was like some type of military guy. He died with a gun in his hand, which was still functional all these years later.
Yeah, it was, helicopter, guy's hands, guy's decayed hand that day. It was his bones.
And it was
Literally.
dripping into the water he was drinking. And I was like, so is he going to die because he's drinking poison water? Because literally there's just like old fluid from this wreck and body dripping into the water that you're drinking. But cool.
Well, I guess they wanted us to believe because he got it by the rocks. It had been filtered. That's how they wanted us to use our imagination. But no, you got helicopter fluid. You got blood down there. You got all kinds of other pathogens in this water, not to mention dinosaur poop feces in that water that should have made homeboy sick, and you let him drink it, and nothing happened.
That would have had alcohol in it, I guess. So
yeah. Oh, okay. So maybe the alcohol killed the germs, right? That's
maybe.
Okay. All right.
We can go with that.
Okay, well, he's got a gun, ladies and gentlemen, and he holds on to that sucker the way Nell Carter hung on to hoagie sandwiches. Okay, he didn't reveal his hand to the very end, and so now let us get back to the family that's still on this island too. And I'm in there with a young man. I always try to take young kids with me that are of age to watch these films to enjoy themselves. So I'm in there with my little homie Azariah, and I was like, this asshole boyfriend, he's got to die. His jokes are not funny. He's done nothing to help with this movie. He's talking about silly posturepedic mattresses being clouds, and this is where old people go to before they pick a bed. All kinds of foolishness, right? So he goes to take So Elle, he goes to take a pee. Okay. As he's taking his pee, you see something in the back behind him. You see some raptors.
Two raptors.
Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, good. I know that sounds really, really bad. I know that sounds, I was like, good. Maybe one to pop his head, the other one to get his leg. I'm tired of this dude. And just as they're about to eat him, the little pterodactyls come and get him. Elle, what was you thinking when you saw that? Was you rooting for his death, or you knew that he wasn't gonna die?
I knew he wasn't gonna die because he's a comedic relief. Like he's been designated as that in this movie. But when I did see the raptors, I was like, they're so smart. Like that was the whole thing for like 3 movies, how intelligent raptors are, how they hunt. It wouldn't get eaten by a pterodactyl, I'm sorry, or whatever that bird was supposed to be. Like it was just, and there's 2 of them. So it only got one and carried it off. So where did the other one go? It just was scared of this bird and was like, oh, I'm getting out of here. I don't know. But maybe it's supposed to be the same birds that like lived in the cliff. So they're supposed to be the largest one and whatever. So it ran away. But I was just like, And the fact that he had started peeing, stops peeing, doesn't turn around. Then he's like, looks behind him, like when the action's all over and then continues to pee. I was like, that was so unnecessary and weird. But okay. Like, some more. It's like an Austin Powers moment. Like when he's peeing forever, it's like, okay.
Well, but hell, maybe this is one of those situations where all that stuff scared, as people would say, the SHIT out of you. Maybe it scared the pee out of him.
Peeing. You would have been peeing through this whole sequence. I don't know, but maybe you would stop. I've never been in this moment. So
Elle, I would have stopped. Okay, like I first of all, I would have looked. And when I would have seen that, my pee would have just stopped, and I would have been sprinting like Usain Bolt. But you said something that was true. The raptors are supposed to be like some of the smartest dinosaurs. Number one, he would have never made it to that spot to pee. He would have never got there. They would have got him before he got there. And one of them, probably the 2 of them could have, since it was 2, the one that didn't get attacked probably could have took out the pterodactyl because they're smart. You know?
And they hunt, they're supposed to be hunting in packs. So it would have heard the bird. And then they would have coordinated and probably attacked it together and still attacked him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I guess these were slower raptors. But I'm like, these aren't the ones that were in the other movies because those ones would not have died.
Blue wouldn't have died. These were the mutated raptors. Okay, these were the ones they was dumbing down the raptors because they was too smart. That's the kind of mutation they was doing to them. And so this family is moving on, and they get to a scene where
the girl spots him back because her dad has further injured his ankle that was already injured. And he went from telling everyone, like, hey, let's all have a walking stick. And then the next thing you know, none of them have a walking stick anymore. And he's just limping around. And she's like, oh my God, Dad, you can't walk. So, like, let's get a boat. And they see a boat. Hey, there's a boat. Super convenient. And then she gets to the boat. Well, okay, I'm jumping ahead, but like they get to the river and she's walking through it and you're like, okay, it's kind of shallow. Then it gets deeper. Then she's got to swim. And they set it up like super tension, like, ooh, what's in the water? And also they introduce like that weird snake thing when they all get to the island at first that's in the water, but you never see it again. So I guess, you know, one and done for that little character. But his old little storage shed and then realizes, oh, this boat is decayed because who knows how long it's been there. But conveniently behind it, there's an inflatable life raft that's just waiting there. So... And on top of that, the most dangerous little dinosaurs that have been there since like the 1993 movie that have things that flare out and they spit out acid.
Yeah.
She is able to be like avoid them because why? T-Rex is there. Because
have you noticed that is a theme with these movies? Those things pop up and they usually always have to go away because a T-Rex or a raptor pop up and save whoever it is that's about to be sprayed in the face. The only person that ever got sprayed in the face by these things was the fat scientist dude. That's the only one I can remember.
Him and also in World Dominion, the guy who was like the billionaire Monsanto type character who'd been like genetically modifying food, the bison guy, he gets attacked by them in that.
That's right.
He's trying to escape. So I think they're reserved for like the really bad characters in the Jurassic series. But and so you know, avoids both of them because T-Rex is there and apparently had just eaten so much that he was like napping on the shore. And then you have the boyfriend and the dad on the shore, like, shh, but like, come back, but like, bring the raft with you, but like, quietly. And it's like, well, how is she going to inflate it? Because like the box to build the tension that the raft is in tells you like, this will sink in water. You have to inflate it before you put it in water. So it's like, she's got to have to open this and it's going to make a bunch of noise. So, and it does. And T-Rex.
And what did you think was going on when it finally inflated, right? It inflated and T-Rex still couldn't get her on the moment it inflated. Was he so stuffed that he couldn't react quick enough? Because it's like, you know, some animals, if they're full, they're not trying to really give big chase to anything else because they want to let that stuff digest. Plus, he didn't even finish the dinosaur.
No. So this is what was weird to me too. Because like, okay, so when it inflates, you expect that it would have been like right there, like woof, hopped up. But like you said, it was like kind of full. So like had rolled over, was kind of sleeping. Then it like you don't see it. So they're like, oh no, where'd it go? Then it's like going and getting some water before it proceeds to chase the family. You see it like go like, well, I guess it was kind of thirsty and this is something to do. Let me get some water before I chase this family. I don't know. It was like an odd, like I feel like because T-Rex are supposed to be like these like hunter bloodthirsty, like it would have immediately come after. No, like it went for a water break and then gave them time, of course, to get into this raft and slowly pedal away. Paddle away.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can't make this up. This review is way better than the movie. I'm sorry. This breakdown of what should have happened, what could have happened, why this didn't happen is way better than the movie. So share this with your friends. I promise you. They'll be full of laughs. So the family is able to, we're going to cut to the chase here. The family got away from the T-Rex, okay? Not only did they get away, but mysteriously, the T-Rex sunk his teeth into the rubber boat, didn't pierce it. No. And when he decided he couldn't get through the rock to get them, all of a sudden the rubber boat just pops right on up out of the water.
I was like, they should have had suits made out of this. If T-Rex couldn't puncture this, I would have been the safest thing they could have had on this little island. I was like, this seems so crazy. And I get it because a little girl, she was clinging on inside this thing because the whole family, I guess, when they got flipped out of it, she was like the last one in there. And so she, like, she wasn't gonna. I thought she was gonna die that way, but this isn't Game of Thrones, so I was just like, all right, she's gonna survive. But yeah, like it bit into the raft, nothing, and then it had the raft in its mouth, and that's when the dad is like weird fake crying in the water because he's like, oh, my daughter, she's like dying in front of me. And then it bites down on it, still doesn't deflate, it doesn't puncture it. I was like, wow, this raft is like Kevlar. Like, he should have literally just had suits made out of whatever this raft was made out of, and they all would have survived in this movie. Because the dinosaur
the T-Rex, the main T-Rex from the previous seasons, the previous movies, not the mutated one. We're going to pick on his ass in a minute.
So gross.
He could not pierce this raft, ladies and gentlemen. He couldn't pierce it.
Indestructible.
Bruh. Okay, so Lord have mercy. The family, needless to say, this family that should not have been in this movie, they've survived. They get to the end, and now we all meet at a gas station when the villain guy finally reveals that he's really a douchebag. Okay.
Oh, and that's the other thing we didn't say. Scarlett Jo kind of sets this up because when they're walking originally and after the family had split, she's like quizzing him, like, did you not try to save this little girl and she's falling off the boat? Like, what happened? And he's like, oh, she was far. You saw what happened. Like, the dinosaur was attacking the boat. I couldn't get to her in time. And she's like, if I find out different, like, you and I are gonna have a problem. I'm gonna leave you here and you can rejoin the food chain. So you kind of it sets it up, that scene, before we get to the end where he's like, haha, I did do this, and who cares?
Right. And then he whips out his gun, ladies and gentlemen. He decides to pull out his gun. But en route to getting to that, everybody kind of, we'll start from that point. So we're at the place where he's unrevealed. He's a piece of junk. He's got this gun, and he decides to take his little briefcase and attach it to himself. And they're trying to get to this helicopter so they can escape because it's time for the helicopter to come. Well, of course, chaos ensues. They have to split up again, and some of them wind up in this little corridor. Thank God for Scarlett Johansson getting down there to save them. But mustache twirling bad guy decides he's going to just go on with his little briefcase, gets underneath a Jeep, eventually finds keys for the Jeep, and decides he's going to take off and leave everybody. What did you think about that part, Elle?
So it's interesting. So they all converge on this little village, how the family finds it because the dad's like, oh, it's geothermal pipes in this island, like, and they're still on. So we can just follow these pipes to the village, and that's kind of been their compass to get there. And then ScarJo, I guess, I don't know if they have GPS or are familiar with the layout of the island, like they already knew where they're going. So they seem to enter from two different sides, and she's just like, they're calling out like, hello, is anyone here? Because I think the family thought like it was a village where people would still actually be there. And I think Scarlett Johansson's character knew like, yeah, no one's going to be here. We're going to be on our own. And then we're just waiting because she already had the backup plan of having a helicopter come and circle around to pick them up. Like, she tells everyone this, like, back on the boat, like, hey, I always have a backup plan. If anything goes left, a helicopter is going to circle around, but only for like 2 minutes. And we just need to be on this helipad. So you're there, like, pretty much at dusk, going to nighttime. And that's when all of the lights in this place, sounds, music, everything turns on, which makes no sense. I'm like, is this solar powered? I don't, like, is it on a timer? This makes no sense. So they're all by this gas station where the Jeep is, like you were talking about, and then just different little buildings. So this dinosaur, I don't even know what kind of dinosaur it's supposed to be. It's probably one of those hybrid mutant ones that are running around. A couple of them pop out, and she's like, let's split up to distract it, which the helicopter's coming and we're splitting up, but you know how movies go. So the family, they all run into the convenience store, and the glass is very thick because this dinosaur can't get through it, and can't get through it with just like a little display cart of treats in front of the door. So that's ScarJo and the bad guy are underneath the Jeep, and then the Mahershala Ali and the scientist are running across the bridge where the helipad is. So yeah, it's probably the same store for the Snickers. I think so. So it's tons of product placement. Frito-Lay,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Pepper, they got their money's worth, and Mountain Dew in the sequence. So they're all in the store and they're hiding. And then the dinosaur comes to the roof, I guess, because everything's impenetrable except the roof, which is metal, which makes no sense. But
and the glass that the little girl went into to protect her and Dolores. The dinosaur couldn't penetrate that either. He just went in there and just.
I think she like held up her coat so it was seeing its reflection. It's kind of like if animals see the reflection, they just think it's like another one of itself.
Okay, I
don't know. That was not.
Okay. That's Elle. That's excellent writing. That's excellent writing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Helping y'all with this movie. It's excellent writing. Damn it, I agree with that. And so that we don't continue to put these people in horror or enjoyment, because I'm sure our review is way better than this movie if you've seen it. We'll go ahead and cut to the chase, okay? Because we gotta rate this.
One more thing: there is an underground tunnel that's underneath all of these facilities, and so the scene that you're seeing with them here, they have all converged in this underground tunnel, and the family just automatically knows how to navigate through it by themselves before Scarlett Jo's down there, or even Mahershala, who actually looked at the plans for this tunnel. So, but there's dinosaurs in there as well.
Yeah, and Scarlett saved them from a dinosaur that went into the tunnel to chase them. So when you see her with the gun, she had the gun that she got from Old Boy, because Old Boy had been eaten by, it's time to introduce him. It's time to introduce the T-mutated 6-armed dinosaur. Ladies and gentlemen, I make no lies. He looks just like this. That is the mutated.
Stop. Oh, yes. Good point, JT. How did they fit in the drain in the store? Like, it just conveniently was the right size. Like, it looked small, but then and then whose finger was lingering? Was that the boyfriend whose finger was lingering in there to let the dinosaur?
That was the boyfriend.
Hey, we went down in the drain. You should follow us down here.
Come on, man.
Bro.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That disgusting little dinosaur that you got a preview of in the first opening sequence of the movie. And then I was like, oh, is this Alien? Like, are you gonna...
Elle, have you seen, do you remember did you ever watch Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie?
Oh, I did, but so long ago, I don't remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know that I was one of the only freaks in America that actually liked that movie. So I remember all the details of that movie. It actually looks like they went and robbed the head of the bad guy costume in the Ryan Reynolds movie and turned him into this dinosaur. Look at this comparison. Look at that shit.
Ew, it's so bad, and it doesn't even have like a dinosaur head. Like, what dinosaur ever even looked like that?
It almost looks like they was trying to say he was about to become human. It almost looked like they was trying to make him have a cranium. Ladies and gentlemen, they crossed over Green Lantern with Jurassic Park. They went and robbed the bad guy of his head, stuck it on this dinosaur, gave the dinosaur some human arms, and said, I'm going to eat people. And then we get to this. If a black person tends to survive a movie, they always got to make them look good. So they make Mahershala Ali the savior of this movie. And I was rolling my eyes like, dude, you about to sacrifice yourself. So anyway, he sacrificed what we think could be a sacrifice for himself to get Green Lantern dinosaur away. And guess what? Was you happy? Was you happy that he survived, or you wanted him to die?
No, I was happy, honestly, because I'm like, why die for this movie?
Right.
Survive to the end because this is ridiculous. And if the family lost no members, like everybody was intact to the end, and this crew of people who, like, you could say maybe like they were kind of villainous because all of them were just in it for the money, but like you had the French girl, you had that French guy, because they were, I think, were a couple, and they both kind of disappeared. Well, died. Right. They both died, and he literally, like, they weren't really bad in particular, either one of them. They were just like, hey, we're just gonna get paid. This is gonna be great. But this whole family, and you had the douchebag boyfriend who, like, he just nothing. So close to getting eaten, but like nothing happened to him. No. Yeah. Mahershala should definitely 100% survive. But it was also weird because it's kind of like, So did you just feed the dinosaur the flare?
Because it went out. It went out.
And that's what, and also they were waiting so long. Like if someone tells you like, hey, leave me, I think people
Go
start the boat. Like the dad waited till like, it was like, okay, like now we should go. And now he's trying to start the boat. It's like, why don't we have the boat running and like, you know, try to see like what's going on with him then. But everyone's just like waiting, like what's going on.
Well, they loved him. They loved Mahershala. He was concerned about the children.
True.
He was concerned about the children. He was concerned about the children. Okay. And in the end, he did survive. They get him on the boat. But I've got one more nitpick, Elle Diane. So this crew is going to survive. They're going to get away. So what do you think my nitpick is now that they're in the boat getting away?
Oh, real quick, JT, they had the guy, the scientist guy, he grabbed like 7 flares out of that thing. So he used one to call the helicopter back, which was sad because all those people just literally died for nothing when they almost got out of there scot-free. And it's funny because there's a boat option the whole time. So
boat option.
There was that. But sorry. But so how they get away on a boat, which is smaller than the sailboat, smaller than the mission boat that they were on, and there's a pod of dolphins, but you don't see the Spinosaurus. You don't see the dinosaur anymore.
Thank you.
Like
thank you.
Mosasaur or whatever. Like they're all gone now.
All gone.
Dolphins, like a whole pod of dolphins.
Yes. And I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, and you would not have seen no Miami Dolphins with them getting away like that. Their asses would have been eaten. I'm tearing my hair out. So not only are they getting away, and they couldn't, and 2 boats didn't make it getting there. 2 boats, 2 bigger boats didn't make it getting there. They're getting away, but then we come to find out they're taking Dolores from the island, which they claim that this is one of the only places dinosaurs can survive. But we know that Dolores is probably going to be part of how the next story unfolds. So not only
more of this family, but
I don't want to see the family either.
Dolores are a package deal now, but
maybe it could just be the little girl and Dolores, because since the big sister's going to college, and I'm assuming that the pothead boyfriend is going to go with her, we don't got to see them no more. Maybe it can just be Dolores, the girl, and these 2, because I'm sure they're going to be an item now.
I feel like we never even got there with them. But to double back to the boyfriend really quick, I thought it was weird because when they get to the island that first night with the family, and the dad is like, thanks for saving my daughter, jumping in the water after her. He's kind of says this like, yeah, I'm not really that good of a guy. I don't know why she's with me. And the dad's like, oh, don't say that about yourself. Like, people talk trash about people in the world enough. Like, you shouldn't talk badly about yourself. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not a good guy. So I'm like, are you going to explain to us why he's not a good guy? Like, is he like secretly going to do something terrible to this family that he's like mooching off of on this trip? Like, I don't know. That was like a weird moment. So maybe he'll come back and maybe he's going to be selling Dolores. I don't know. You could see it.
I felt like Dad was saying that to him. Remember how you was telling me that a lot of the Hispanic families was laughing in your theater? I feel like Dad was saying that to him as a way to boost him up, because it was insight that oftentimes minorities get picked on by other people, and I think Dad said that to him as a way to say, hey, even though they pick on us, we still have good qualities, whatever. I interpret that. But I'm just mad.
Like, he's guapo, which is handsome in Spanish, but it's just like, okay. Like, he never expands on like, why is he not a good person? And also the dad doesn't seem to dig into that. Like, this man is dating your daughter, and you're just like, oh, you have questionable character that you're admitting to, but cool. We'll continue on this trip together.
I can tell you right now, as a dad, I wouldn't have been having none of that. I can just tell you right now, he would have been pushed into it. He would have went somewhere and wouldn't have came back. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if this is a movie. So Elle, now that we're to the end of this movie, how do you do you do your rankings on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 5? How do you do your movie rankings?
We can do 1 to 10. I think that's what it's
okay. If you're ranking this 1 to 10, 1 being the trash at the bottom of Oscar the Grouch's trash can, and 10 being Oscar like Titanic, where do you put this movie?
I'm gonna give it like a 4.5.
Whoa, a 4. Whoa.
I saw the
Ooh-wee.
critics had it like 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. I understand why. Audience seemed to like it a little bit more. The audience was around like 7 to 8. And I was just like, that's generous. Maybe if you have younger kids and just like it was something to do for a weekend. But yeah, this movie is like it's an F. But I mean, honestly, like to me, like okay, 4.5 because I like the characters. Like we said, ScarJo, Mahershala, like they're great. And sometimes you don't always have to see like, you know, super intense acting. But even if you look at the last installments of these movies, like what they had Chris Pratt and Bryce Howard's characters doing, you felt like really good writing was happening, really good tension. It was moving the plot along. Like you were invested in these characters. You cared. Like you could see the sexual tension between them. Like they together, not together, together again. Like you got all of that. With this, it's like we're introduced to these new people. There's really no setup and there's no backstory. Like they're just there. Like with at least Bryce Howard's character, when we start with Jurassic World, she is the uptight aunt who's working at this super big corporation that's, you know, introducing the world to dinosaurs. She cares about money. She's career driven. You get all of that. Chris Pratt is lover of animals, trainer of raptors. He's good with blue. Like you get invested in these people as characters. And this movie is just like, you know, we love this franchise. We're making money. Here's some new characters. Hopefully you care about them enough and we're going to make another movie.
Well, they certainly did that. They've already almost doubled the budget. Almost. And this is not even Sunday yet.
Oh, they're going to do it again. They'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll be getting another one for sure.
I'm going to give it a 5. I'm going to give it a 5. I might even give it a 5.5 because the strength of the characters in terms of who was playing the characters, Mahershala Ali, Scarlett Johansson, they're giving this movie a 4. Like I said, I did like the music that they played in certain moments, and I always like to give credit to the music and the editing and cinematography because people tend to forget about them. They don't understand how big of a role they play. And I felt like all that was okay. I felt like the dinosaurs looked fine, except for the Green Lantern dinosaur. You could have done better than that.
Way better. Like they had Endosaurus Rex, which was in one of the movies, which I played. That's terrifying. It's bigger than a T-Rex. Like, why didn't we do just like a normal like T-Rex hybrid?
You didn't have to mutate it like that.
No,
you did not have to mutate him like that. And maybe that's why we didn't see too much of him, because I'm sure that when they did like some early screenings in other places, they was like, what the hell?
It doesn't fit. It just like it looks like a weird alien hybrid dinosaur, and you're just like, what is this? Like, why did you even the 2-headed one that the guy saw when they went into the little lab? Like to me, that would have made more sense than seeing that dinosaur running around.
This was straight up Green Lantern dinosaur. I give it a 5.5, ladies and gentlemen. And when it comes to whether you should go see it in theaters or stream it,
save your money.
Save your money. Unless you got a kid that really wants to see it,
no.
Save your money and stream this joint. No. But you know what?
Tell your kid no. Tell them you'll get them like a treat or something. Tell them no. This is
take your child to Chuck E. Cheese. You'll have a better time.
Yes. Go see a mouse. Go see the mouse.
Exactly.
Or even just watch the old Jurassic movies. This is not worth spending your money on.
Definitely. And before we get out of here, Elle Diane, to this day, what is your number one favorite Jurassic Park film?
This is hard. I like the 93 one because that's the first movie I ever watched, and like it sparked that like love of dinosaurs and learning about them. So, you know, it made me pretty cool with the boys when I was younger because like they were into dinosaurs and I was into dinosaurs too.
Okay.
So yeah, I
Jenny
love
from the block. Okay.
And then
mine too.
The next movie that I like a lot would be the second one of the series for like the last trilogy that we did.
I agree with that. I can agree with that. Yep. Same with me too, ladies and gentlemen. So Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed Elle, her link is in video description. We may have her presence back next week after Superman, which I'm telling people Superman should be better than this Jurassic movie. Or at least I hope it is. I don't know.
Okay, so this is my problem with Superman. They got rid of Henry Cavill. For what reason?
I have a problem. I have a problem with that too. And my other problem is I'm so sick of the villains being basically clones of Superman. Like how long do we have to see that before we get to the space-based characters that aren't Supermen? Like,
you can do so many characters for Superman too. Like, I don't understand why DC struggles where Marvel succeeds with like really introducing and sticking with people as far as
and the thing is, DC does great with the cartoons for the most part. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll be back next week. Don't forget to like the video. Go check her out. I'm going to send her this video via email. So if she wants to chop it up and share it, she can. And y'all can see us again on her channel. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Lamont. That is
Elle Diane.
Elle Diane. And we'll see you on the next video. Peace. I'm telling you, that review was